How are you doing, Charles?
Not too bad myself. How are you, Tino?
I'm good, but are you good, or are you just saying that just so that you can move past that? Do you have
Do
any,
you
do you
do
have
you
any
really
deep traumas or,
do you have the time? Do you really want to know?
now I feel like I don't want to know.
Okay, so general answer, I'm good.
Okay, I will have to round it up to I'm good. I am good
Mm.
too. Again, we also don't have time to dive into what that means.
All our traumas. It's
Yes.
just too much.
Wrong show. That's a different show. Rack O-Pinions is what we're here for, which is a different show. This is car related.
Very much a car-related show, and to those of you who haven't been keeping up or following our channel, this is where you find most of your car-related information, news, content.
The best in Zimbabwe. You know, people just don't want to say it, but I'll say it here, put it on record. This is the best place to do it, and I'm sure our faces look familiar. Yes, that's because we are Z-CarCulture as well. So this is powered by Z-CarCulture, but our show is called Rack O-Pinions, and this is the platform where we just want to talk about. By the way, we never talk about what that name actually means.
I think we have to dive deep into car nerddom.
Yes, but the important thing is I came up with it because I'm good like that. That's
Well
you know
done.
how it is. It just came to me.
You're
sleeping
special.
One day,
You're special.
just I had a vision. So basically, it's pretty simple actually. Rack and Opinions. It's a play on rack and pinion, which is a type of steering mechanism. So I just put an O there, So
You had to explain the joke.
Opinions. I mean, it's right there. I mean, if you don't get it, I have to. You might.
I know.
It's
okay. It's smart. For those of you that don't know anything about cars, like this is like A-star material. Like he's going places. This guy, you have no idea. No idea.
So, Kudzi, in this show, we want to talk about a bunch of different things.
Yeah, definitely. There's been a lot that's been going on in the car space for 2026. I think to start us off, there's no better time than now to start with the Toyota Hilux.
Yeah, I mean, this came out late last year. We didn't have a chance to talk about it, although we did post it. We did post it on our social media. That was on Instagram and I think Facebook too. So in those posts, we were just talking about briefly what the Toyota Hilux has, and in our YouTube video as well, we then went into a little bit of a deep dive to talk about what are the new features that are with this new car. We didn't really talk about it at the time in person, like what we're doing now, because it was Christmas time and it was okay. We don't have turkeys.
I was holding it in. I was about to explode because I have so much to say. I mean, it's so frustrating. I think
I'm seeing the positives.
Okay, there's some positives, but my major gripe, as always with Toyota, is they take too long to develop stuff. They never give people they're never like class leading in terms of technology, in terms of, anything new, really.
But to counter that, what they do is they use what they call the Kaizen method. So that is progressive improvements over time. So in that 10-year lifespan of whatever model it is, throughout the years, they're just refining it bit by bit, improving it bit by bit.
That's the problem.
What is the
problem? It's not been 10 years. It's not been just 10 years.
Yeah, but it's still improvements over time.
No. Guys, so for those of you that don't really know, the Hilux you're seeing now, the new, I'll put like air quotes, new Hilux, uses the same chassis as the D4D, the 1KDs, the Hilux that came out in the early 2000s to now, guys.
But they improved it, by, making it better and stuff.
No, Toyota keeps getting away with this. And someone has to stand up to them. That's why we're doing this.
Also, it's you.
Yes.
You're the one
I'm the
standing up to the man.
But no, on a serious note, I think the competition is now the massive problem they have. Because if it was just Toyota in isolation, everyone likes Toyota. People keep on buying Toyotas, no matter what we say here. And I think that's true, right?
Yes.
But then the competition has been ramping up. Things have been changing. Things have been developing.
Mm-hmm. No, that's true. Fair enough. So okay, let's try explain what this new Hilux has. Try and compare it to the modern competition. So, if you don't know, this new Hilux maintains the same engine and transmission and pretty much all the running gear from the previous generation. So that's your 2.8 turbo diesel that has about 200 horsepower and 500 newton meters of torque. So that's made it to 6-speed automatic or manual transmission, and it's two-wheel drive
Or
four-wheel drive on loose surfaces. So it hasn't changed dramatically on the inside, apart from more sound insulation, so it sounds nice on the inside, and then obviously the highlight being the revised dashboard, which is very familiar if you've been in the latest Prado. So
and the latest Prado, it will seem very familiar if you've been in the latest Land Cruiser. So you see, like,
they don't have to be this guy.
No, they really don't want to change anything. It's still like.
But that was the main gripes of the previous gen, right? Which was the infotainment, because it was laggy, it was just outdated. So this one is much better, and ergonomically, unfortunately, because it hasn't grown in size, they pretty much use the same cab. It's still a bit of a tight fit on the inside, especially for us tall gentlemen.
Yeah, and I think apart from what you've mentioned, like the dashboard and maybe the drivetrain, they're claiming the suspension is also new.
Yeah, so they're offering
just the shocks. I mean,
yeah, they're offering two tunes of suspension. So there's the normal one, which people are complaining that it was a bit too stiff. So they also have now the lifestyle oriented one, which is supposed to be softer.
But how much do you want to bet? It's going to be stiff as hell. It's going to ride.
It's going to be soft by Toyota standards. So.
By Toyota standards, yeah.
Yeah, but on the outside, I know that people are also a bit divided when it comes to the looks. I don't know what you think about that.
Well, with the looks, the looks are actually the best positive for me, because I think they did a good job on improving from the last one. Yes. But then if you remove the tray at the back and the front end, the middle section is the same.
It's the same, yes.
So they just had to like do a bit of, Botox at the front and a
different tray. Yeah. So even the dimensions for the tray are exactly the same, which now for industry standards is a bit small. Exactly. A lot of the competition, especially the main rival, the Ford Ranger, is most importantly for at least the Australian market, it can actually hold an Aussie pallet. So that's
the standard.
That is the standard. So that's the distance between the rear axles, right? So that space you can actually fit like a pallet there. Well, the Hilux you can't because it's a bit too narrow. But in terms of overall dimensions, though, it's still good enough.
Yeah, but then I don't know. I'm done making excuses. I'll keep on coming back to this. The space in the back has always been, it's a bit tight, especially for people like you.
Yeah.
There's no leg room. There's no knee room.
There's no knee room, yeah.
And then the angle of the seat
is very upright.
Yeah. And that hasn't changed. Still the same thing. And then when you look at the competition, the Ford Ranger, way more space inside, way more, like the ergonomics are set up in a better way. Like it's just, then you have the Isuzu. I've been in one. It has loads of space. I think I actually have about 10 centimeters, if not slightly less, from my knee to the back of the front seat. So there's loads of space in that.
Loads, yeah.
And to top it off, it's way more comfortable in the back, even though it's still using leaf springs, just like the Hilux. But I don't know why Toyota just struggles, but I haven't ridden in the new one, the new Hilux. So I'll reserve some judgment for that. But I bet, I'm a betting man on this one. I'm willing to bet it's going to be stiff, even on the luxury model, the lifestyle model.
Lifestyle.
So I don't know.
Yeah, The other thing that people were complaining about was also the transmission. People assumed they were just gonna take the same 8-speed from the Prado and just put it in there, because this 6-speed, although yes, it is dependable, it's a bit archaic, bit
Yeah,
slow, bit yeah, it's a bit daft, for lack of a better word.
especially if they're claiming to have a lifestyle version. That 6-speed is not a good match. So you have two very contentious issues. Now the engine is very agricultural, very industrial.
It is. It's quite loud.
The problem with this old setup, right? You've got the loud clattering diesel engine at the front and a very dim-witted transmission by modern
standard, yeah.
So it's not a very good combination for something that's trying to improve on refinement, you know.
Yeah, and speaking of refinement now, we've got to look at what the competition offers right now. So yesterday I was actually watching a comparison between the Ford Ranger and the new Hilux. And where the Ford Ranger trumps the Hilux is ride comfort, is space, and even power. And obviously the transmission because it has that 10-speed. Where the Ford sort of then falls short now is the whole reliability issues that is
since the beginning of time
plagued the Ford Ranger. But when you look at something like a Ford Ranger, that's like an example of a legacy brand that's taking the competition to Hilux. So for those that are saying, okay, the Hilux, yeah, it's reliable, but am I really going to sacrifice everyday comfort because I'm using this as a daily driver? Am I sacrificing all of that just because it's a Hilux? Am I paying a premium just because it's a Hilux?
Oh, yes, you are.
You are, but some people might say, no, I'd rather go look elsewhere. So you got your Ford Ranger that can do all that we mentioned before. It's really comfortable even for the lower specs, quite comfortable, quite spacious. And that infotainment screen, although sometimes it may lag, sometimes it may glitch, when it's working, it's a great system. You look at the likes of Isuzu and Mazda, which is the same architecture. Again, it's good space, and even with the tray, you got great dimensions. We forgot to mention also the Amarok, which is based on the Ranger. Again, same thing,
same problem, same benefits.
Then you look at the Chinese now. Remember, we reviewed the P series quite a while back, or the P300.
And I can remember back then the P series was way more refined than the Hilux. That's the previous generation.
That one had more space than the Ranger, that I remember.
Yeah, and the features, it was loaded. Because this is like pre-ADAS. Now most trucks, bakkies, have ADAS, which is quite a revelation for some of those legacy companies. But then the P series was way more refined. The engine was quiet. I remember the transmission was very smooth. I remember the space was there. The only thing we weren't sure about back then was the reliability and the durability of some of the materials, some of the parts, like the engine, like the interior fittings, some of the garnish. You weren't sure if it was going to hold up to the test of time. So now,
I mean, it's been a few years since then, and I don't know for the P series exactly, but for the other Chinese models like your Havals, those crossovers, those have been holding up quite well when it comes to mechanically being reliable. I would assume it's the same thing with the P series. I mean, the only criticism people had about the previous P series was the power or lack thereof, because it used a 2-liter. So now I think they're using a 2.4, which
is a bit more oomph.
Yeah, exactly. So you have the likes of the P series, right? And already you're looking at that, and it's a compelling offer. And then the price, because geez, the price, it undercuts the Hilux and all these other legacy brands significantly, sometimes even by half.
Do you know the most common comment I was seeing, like in the comment section for whatever review I was watching, is old specs, right? Old specs but new price.
Exactly.
So I think that's the overarching theme for the new Hilux, because you get like, it's an evolution. of an old.
It's an evolution, yes.
Yeah, so you wouldn't be expecting to pay significantly more because I think the price has gone up or is expected to go up by like 10,000, 20,000, depending on availability and where you're getting it from.
Which is why people were like, okay, this is not a 9th gen, this is more like an 8.5.
It's a facelift.
It's a facelift as opposed to an all new model. Because...
So you see, you're on my side.
No, I'm saying both sides. I don't want to be overly negative about it because it does have its advantages of, maintaining the same things because those things have proven to be reliable. So if it's a car that you just want to get in and drive every time and not worry about anything at all, that's the vehicle for you. I mean, with Ford, we've heard reports, of that weight belt system that's just horrible.
Yeah, I just saw some other guy online with the Amarok version of the Ford Ranger. Yeah. So is that how you say it? Yeah, the Ford Amarok. Yeah. And I think at 60,000 Ks, he's already experiencing weight belt issues. So you're like, maybe there's a reason why certain people would like to stick to Toyota.
Exactly. So you don't have
but then there's other cars. I mean, the Isuzu Mazda engine is already on par in terms of reliability.
Yes.
It's on par with the Hilux.
What's the code again? 4G. What's what?
JJ.
4JJ. Yeah.
So that engine is already renowned for being stout. The only drawback I would see for the Isuzu is it's getting a bit long in the tooth at the moment.
What, in terms of the mechanics?
In terms of just the features, like especially in the cabin.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not too much. Compared to the Hilux, you're now getting like heated seats, which I would have never thought Toyota would be putting in a bakkie. You have some other ADAS features that I know for a fact they're not there in the Isuzu. It's still a bit old school in some sense.
I would sort of like pull the Hilux, the Isuzu, and the Triton in the same group. They're like these sort of like new cars with old school bones.
Yes, very old bones.
Yeah, crackling
bones. Yeah, and I think that's a good thing as well because like what you saying about the Hilux, people are already used to those cars and the way they are. So it's not really a shock to someone who's looking to buy one. You're not going to be surprised.
Exactly. I mean,
by too much.
You mentioned earlier on that that Isuzu Mazda engine. So there's an interesting phenomenon happening right now in the bakkie market, and it's been happening for a few years now of sort of like badge engineering. So I think one of the funniest examples of this back in the day, I think it was like 2018, was the Mercedes X-Class.
X-Class, yeah.
Which shared the same underpinnings as the Navara. So that was a disaster, but there are other examples that have made it work. So you've got your Ford and VW for the Amarok and Ranger. Then you've got Isuzu and Mazda.
And then you also have like Ford Mazda too, like new
Ford, Ford Mazda, they did a thing back in the day.
For years.
Yeah,
it was a long time.
And then now, the latest version of this is Triton and Navara.
Which, this one is a bit iffy to be.
Too on the nose.
It's on the nose, and the other, confusing part is they're releasing it in a specific market.
Yes, that was also quite confusing.
And then they're maintaining the older one for the rest of the world.
Yeah. Okay, so if you don't know, it was late last year, I think even a few weeks after this new Hilux came out, the Mitsubishi announced the new Triton, and we saw the pictures, and you're like, this looks very familiar. And then we discovered, no, it's the new Nissan Navara, but it looks like a Triton, like minus the badges, it's the same vehicle.
There's a strong case of deja vu. Designed by deja vu.
Oh, they're like Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, so I think it's too on the nose because it feels like Nissan is struggling on a lot of faces with most of their models.
Oh yeah, Nissan is in a bad place right now.
And even with the Navara, I mean, I think what I noticed initially with the Navara, their main problem was it came out as a lifestyle bakkie. So that's why like it was quite popular in Europe and some parts of Australia, and it had a more global appeal, right? Especially for people in big cities, it was a bit more refined, softer edge. Now it's trying to bridge that gap, or not now, but after the first gen, the second gen was trying to bring it back into this hardcore workman's style bakkie, which was the image that was previously held by the NP300.
Yeah.
Which had been back then was discontinued when this second gen Navara was coming out. So I don't think they did quite well, like trying to incorporate that tough image into the new.
From then on,
it was, yeah, and it's been a struggle. And I think that's part of the reason why the X Class also struggled, because Mercedes, as we know, is already like a strong lifestyle brand. So yeah, picture this, trying to market your bakkie as a workman's bakkie to like an Afrikaner farmer in South Africa. But then the image he has of a Mercedes, especially one that's based on a Navara, that's also not very, tough.
Soft, too soft.
It's too soft. It's a tough sell.
Too blingy, it is. And they've been struggling, Nissan in general has been struggling for a bunch of different reasons.
We've discussed this before.
It's its own episode, I think, that we might have to do in future. So as a result, with this one, it's also another example of them sort of struggling, but then the rationale of then having this vehicle specifically for the Australian market is baffling.
Yeah, but they didn't give an explanation as far as I know. It's just announced we're making it for the Australian market. And the rest of you guys can.
Yeah, of which now the segment has been growing quite a lot recently. I mean, apart from the Chinese themselves, you also have the EV companies now coming in.
Yeah, so I think that's an interesting point because we just recently drove one.
Yeah, we drove one. This vehicle is called Ridara RD6. You can look that up. So it's a Chinese truck, full on. So it's not like a normal truck that was converted to electric. This was built from the ground up as an EV truck. So we were actually surprised when we went to one of these automotive events to actually find it there. It had a stand at one of these shows, and we were surprised. Like in Zimbabwe, having an EV truck, does that actually work? So fortunately, we had a chance to actually then, at a later stage, drive it and do a full-on assessment of it, and it has its pros.
It does, and I think we won't scoop ourselves too much. You need to wait for that one. It's coming out pretty soon, and all I can say for now is I was very surprised at how refined it is, and how solid it feels.
Yeah, everything feels like it was built properly. Like it's sort of like like it's a German truck. Like everything is screwed on nice and tight.
But I'm not too surprised because the parent company of Ridara, or the owners, is Geely, and Geely also owns Volvo, and they use the same expertise that they use for Volvos and those other European cars to make this one. So it feels very solid. The structure is really strong.
And of course it's fast. It's very so off the line, it becomes quite addictive to just keep on launching it every time you come to a stop.
And you don't have the problem of the Hilux, where if you launch it, it's like
which was the other thing. Okay, one more thing. I don't know if I'm spoiling it or not, but the driving dynamics are quite different from a normal truck based off how it's made.
Yes.
Because this is a unibody as opposed to using a ladder chassis. So basically, like with Hilux and with all other trucks, it's the body that's attached to a separate frame. Whereas with the Radara, it's all one thing. And couple that with the batteries now being sort of like the spine of the chassis means that the weight distribution is down low. And what that means is it feels more car-like than a truck.
Yeah, and I was actually, it's the first time I've seen a bakkie without that seam in the middle, where like the main cab is separated from the tray.
From the tray, yeah.
It's just like one continuous body. So it's going to be interesting to see how the early adopters rate this car or how it holds up to, you know, fair use in Zim. But I think for the full story, just keep an eye out for that episode. It's coming out real soon.
And it's not only the only EV out there. We don't really get this in Zimbabwe, but remember the Rivian in the States?
Oh, yeah.
That has been picking up steam bit by bit, and that was one of the first sort of competitors within that field.
Yeah, and you really like that.
Yeah, when it came out, I really liked the way they looked. I still do. And it offers a lot of features, especially for the lifestyle consumer. So if you're one of those outdoorsy people, you know, you will enjoy this truck. It does a lot. And I think when it comes to value, even in the States, people do struggle with EVs. The infrastructure is a lot better there than here. But you still have instances where you might come to an EV station and it's not working, or it's full. What do you do? Or you know, you're on a road trip and you have to charge it, and it's going to take like 45 minutes to charge, and then you have to wait. So there's still all those headaches when it comes to EV ownership. But with technology now improving over time, means that charge times will become less. You're going to have more charging stations. But the adverse result at the moment is EVs don't hold their value very well.
Yeah, they don't. They really don't. So it's going to be a car that you buy. It's best experienced when you're the first owner. Yes. And you get to use it for like the first 100,000 or like the first 150,000 Ks. And then you let it go. Whoever is going to deal with that, let it be their problem.
Exactly. And if we had the option in Zimbabwe, we'd rather lease it for about 2-3 years, move it along.
Yeah, and one small benefit, or it's not small, but I hadn't fully considered it. If you're buying an EV, you don't have the additional cost of maintenance. Then for the Radara, the guys were telling us you only bring it in for a service at 60,000, and that service is just them having, you know, a diagnostics check to see if everything is in order, and then maybe changing the brake pads. Since it's got like regen.
Yeah, that's the only consumable, right?
That's the only thing. Yeah. When you compare it to, you know, our traditional Hiluxes, Ford Rangers, especially. So you don't have that worry of something going terribly wrong. But then in the most unlikely event that it does, I'm also concerned how easy replacement parts are to get.
Well, I would assume if you're buying it new, you have some form of warranty, let's say within your 2-3 years of ownership. If there's an issue with the battery or something like that, or the motors, then it's covered by the dealership. The only worry now is the wait time. If this is your daily driver, how long is that going to take to source it from China, have it shipped here, and etc., fitting and everything.
I have one example, like it's a very terrible one from back when I was still working in the automotive industry. One guy had a Hyundai Elantra. I think it was an Elantra. And it was a very basic fix that needed to happen, something in the drivetrain. But then because it's not a very common car for our market, and because the person was using like the dealership route, the repair took a year plus.
Sheesh.
Because the part was being ordered from, you know,
South
Korea, and I don't know what was happening there. Because it was just as the the Ukrainian war had started. So I'm not sure if that played a part. But then just thinking about it, you buy this thing and you're probably excited, you know, to use your new car, to take full advantage of it, right? And then something breaks and now you have to, you know, park it, or you have to leave it at someone else's garage and try and figure out like how
to use it in the meantime. or the plans that you had, you know.
So it's something to also consider if you want to buy some of these newer cars to our market. Is if you're someone who's very tech savvy or someone who's very, hands on, I think it's easier for you. But if you're someone who's you're not well versed in the art of searching for things, ordering for yourself, and then it becomes very tedious. But who knows?
But I was actually surprised you mentioned like someone is actually buying an Elantra, because we're now in this market where people are just buying trucks and SUVs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've always wondered, for the guys that do buy trucks and SUVs, do you really need them? And in Zimbabwe, I'm actually inclined to say yes, not because of the storage and practicality, but just because of our roads.
Our roads are terrible, terrible. Yeah. And I think we were discussing this before. We're laughing at how iShowSpeed just came to Zim. And that's like its own episode.
It's a different show.
It's a different show.
It's a different show.
Right? Yeah. But the first thing he did, as soon as he left Zim to go to his next destination, which was Zambia, Lusaka, he commented on the roads. He's like, "Oh, this place is nice. It's got way better roads than Zim." So I think that's a statement within itself.
But we're talking to Trabablas.
Come on. Well, the problem with Trabablas is the roads leading up to Trabablas, and Trabablas itself is nice. It's perfect. It's still new. But the other, like the surrounding roads, I think for all the Harare residents, they know what I'm saying.
Yeah, so you should have taken him to waterfalls. So you can appreciate the roads that we now have up here. So he knows how good he has it. But yeah, it's a thing that I was actually thinking about the other day, that, because my sister's actually in the market for a car, right? So I was suggesting something small because she still has a small family. Mm-hmm. But she was saying there is that issue now of you want to go somewhere, and especially now that it's raining, a lot of these roads are flooded, or a lot of these potholes are covered by water, so we don't know how deep it is. Mm-hmm. Those that are in bigger trucks, I mean, right now the Land Cruiser guys are flexing on us right now when it rains. Yeah.
I saw like an Indian guy with a 79 series built up, like proper.
Those guys.
And he was just, you could tell this guy didn't even care. He's just flooring it, just hitting every pothole, left, right, and center, just going full speed. So but it's like less of trying to get like a full-on 4x4 SUV and more of just getting something that's a bit high off the ground. So if you look at, let's say if you want to stick to Toyota, what do they have? I think the smallest sort of like crossover they have would be the Urban Cruiser. Mm-hmm. So you got your Urban Cruiser, and then you got your Corolla Cross, and then you got your RAV4, and then you shift now to the big boys, your Prados and your Fortuners and the Big Daddy.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate for us that sort of like where you have to land in, even though as enthusiasts, I think we would go more towards the hatchback routes, or if the family then shift to like a station wagon.
Yeah, I think it's now, if you buy something that's really nice, you have to pay extra attention when you're driving. Like extra attention.
Especially for like 18-inch wheels.
Because imagine you just hit, one of those spine-shattering potholes
that you just didn't see. Like you're being careful this whole time, and then it just comes out of nowhere.
You're going to wreck your mood for the day. Probably shatter a rim, shatter your spine, shatter your bank account. It's such an unfortunate thing, but this is the major city, right? It's the capital, and you wouldn't be expecting this in the capital city. It was like anyway, it's fine, but in the main city, that's where you now need these.
In the CBD.
Yeah, big trucks and crossovers and whatnot. But I think that's an interesting segue, because you did mention Toyota again, and you did mention how there's like an Urban Cruiser, RAV4.
It's got a lot you can get.
Yeah, Corolla Cross. And recently there's been news that the Fortuner might not be coming back.
Yeah, because you just saw how many models I just mentioned there, right? For a while, I did think about this because I'm like, okay, you're in the market for a proper 4x4 SUV, and it has to be Toyota. You've got a lot of options, right? Obviously, depending on budget, but you've got your Prado, you've got your Fortuner, you've got your 300 series. If you want to go fancier, you can go Lexus with the GX500 or the LX, whether it's a 600H or the 700.
Whichever, it's still top of the range.
Exactly. So you have all these options, but if you look closely now to the Fortuner and the Prado, there's a lot of overlapping now.
Yeah, there is. But I also think, apart from like stepping on each other's toes within the Toyota range, like we mentioned before, the Hilux, the problem there is they don't want to overextend themselves when it comes to like developing something, like giving it features or like watching what the competition is doing. In the last few years of this generation Fortuner, it's been getting overshadowed by the Everest, by the MUX. So I don't know. I think it's good that the Fortuner is being put to rest for now.
Yeah, for now. I mean, they could bring it back depending if demand is there, because it still is a bestseller in markets like South Africa and even Australia, and I would assume even here if actually did the reporting.
Yeah. But then right now, people are into Prados. You wouldn't even think the Prado is an expensive car with how flooded it is over here. Everywhere you go, there's a Prado.
Can you still get Fortuner new, like from the dealership?
I'm not sure. If I'm honest, I'm not sure.
Because I don't know if they're still making it. This current iteration. Okay, maybe they still are, but I think that maybe because the new Prado is the new, new thing, so everyone wants that. But with the Fortuner, it's had a good run. Again, they were refining it over time. We even got a GR for crying out loud.
But that was the weakest attempt. Was this GR only in badges?
His name,
It's just got badges. But anyways, it was a much loved, much appreciated car when it was around, and hopefully we do get to see it come back at some later stage. But for now, I don't really see the point, because the current Prado is pretty much occupying that space. Even price-wise, it's not too far off the original Fortuner's price. You only pay a little bit extra.
Yeah.
But I don't see the reason for it existing in the same, same timeline.
Exactly.
Because the price if you look at an urban cruiser, it's around like the 50,000 mark. The Corolla Cross is also like somewhere up there. The RAV4 you can buy a RAV4 for like 70,000.
That's crazy. Which is Toyota's just the value wise, those things.
And then the Fortuner, the newer ones, we're going for like around 60 something. So you're like,
and then even if you're trying to find them used, they hold their value so well. Even like the Corolla Cross, because I was looking at that as one of the options for my sister.
It's a
non-starter. Even a RAV4, like to actually find like something decently priced, you have to go back to like 2014 to find those. Otherwise, anything above that, you're talking crazy money.
And I think the only reason they were able to get away with that is because the Chinese hadn't started like disrupting the market. So right now, I think that's one of the other reasons why the Fortuner is being put to sleep, because the Chinese are just.
Yeah, because I was just thinking now, as you mentioned that the Jolly one that we reviewed a couple of years ago. I'm sure if you look for one now used, because I remember new it was like around 35 to 40K, and that was new. So you can imagine how much it is now. It could be a good deal.
It's a good buy. And I remember the specs, it had somewhere around like 170 kilowatts, which is around the 230-ish horsepower level. And the torque was like 500 newtons through just the front wheels.
It never felt underpowered. And even though power is coming through the front wheels, we never experienced torque steer, because I think it's electric steering. But it really does a good job of putting the power down, and it's got a DCT, I think, for some of the variants. So it's a good car. Space-wise, again, it's just It just ticks all the right boxes.
Specs in terms of features. Remember, it had like a heads-up display.
360 camera with crisp quality.
And to get a heads-up display in the Toyota lineup, you have to buy the Lexus. It's like way over there on the top end of the spectrum. So
it's insane. But speaking of Lexus, I think this is now something for a next episode. You saw the new LFA?
Oh yeah,
and the new GR, yeah, and that's a topic for another day.
But I think okay, Toyota, when it comes to like these consumer grade products, they do okay, but they're not really as competitive as they once were back in the mid 2000s to the 90s to the 80s. Now it's a bit different. But where they're doing spectacularly well is the enthusiast market.
Oh yeah,
because like from the GR Corollas, the GR Yaris, the GR86,
even the GR
I hesitate to say the GR Hilux. But yes, even the GR Hilux is evidence that they're trying to listen to the customers. And now there's a GR GT, which is kind of it's kind of lame though, the name GR GT.
Although they don't want to call it a Toyota, they just wanted to just go by GR GT.
Maybe Toyota has its own connotation. But it's still, I'm happy that they actually pulled through. And hopefully this is not going to be like the first LFA where the first LFA was announced in like the mid 2000s. Then it took like 5-7 years for the car to actually reach the market. So hopefully this is going to come out really soon.
I don't know if you're talking about limited numbers or not, but if it's limited numbers, then it's already sold out.
Nah, no, I don't think it is. I think it's a production for the Toyota version.
Yeah, for the Toyota.
Yeah, but maybe also the Lexus version, if it's going to be there, that might be limited.
Okay, so to wrap up the show, how soon do you think we're going to see? I was about to say the GRGT, but I don't think Bingas go for something else.
Nah, because in them even like a basic sports car like a 400Z or like a Supra, we don't see that. So you can't expect people to jump all these stages and just go for the top.
And we're going to say, I already seen the new Hilux on Marketplace, so it's something. So yeah, we just haven't probably seen it yet. So
yeah, which is why I was like, my complaints won't amount to anything when it comes to the Hilux, because people will just go ahead and buy it in droves. Yeah. That's like the biggest flex for Zimbabweans, getting the current Hilux.
Yes, the new. But anyways, guys, that's the show. Let us know what you think in the comments. If you have any additions, if you have any thoughts that you want to share, please feel free to drop them in the comments. This has been another Rack O-Pinions episode, powered by Z-CarCulture.
Did you come up with that? Wow, you're so creative, man. I think you're going places. You're special. But no, guys, thank you for watching and listening.